What's up, y'all? In an interesting yet funny episode of When Worlds Collide, you have the needle drop Anthony Fantano giving a bit of commentary on arguably the biggest streamer right now, Asmon Gold, and he throws a wild accusation on him, which I'm going to play you guys that clip right now.
In DDG's defense, he does kind of accurately assess that Asmon Gold's interest in him, obsession with him, desire to gain clout off of him is probably based in racism.
What's going on?
It's true. It's because I hate black people. There's been a lot of people on Twitter that have had this assumption, and it's true. I hate black people. That's right. And it's not just black people, but that's one of the many groups of people that I hate. Of course. Naturally. I'm glad Anthony's smart enough to see that. Crazy that I'm sitting here and I've actually been I'm watching guys that used to be cool turn into being like old boring men. Isn't this crazy? Like now everybody's they're getting fat, they're getting gray hair, they're getting boring. Like what happened, man? What is this? Remember whenever you hung out with Sam Hyde? Like remember that? Like come on, man. Remember iDubbbz? Yeah. Everybody's getting old. They're boring now. What's wrong with this?
So here you have Anthony Fantano calling Asmon Gold, of all people, like, yeah, DDG is right. Well, he's co-signing. He's like, DDG is right in saying that this guy's dislike for him is because he's racist. I'm like, what? It's crazy that Anthony Fantano, because I don't think DDG was even serious when he said that. I think he was just throwing it out there because this back and forth between Asmon Gold and DDG started off of viewbotting allegations for the most part.
DDG? Who? I don't even know who DDG is. Who is DDG? Yeah, who the f is this guy? God damn it. Okay, here we go. Let's see if I can find it. What's this one up? Let's see if this guy's a viewbotter. Yeah, definitely also, again, a viewbotter. You can see right here. And he is instantaneously within 1 minute, 2 minutes here at 13,000 viewers. Here's a little tip, guys. Anybody who hits their peak viewership in less than an hour probably has artificial viewership. And I don't think that it's fair to say that DDG was doing this, and he was a bad actor and, he did this himself. But it's undeniable that his streams are being viewbotted. Like, it's obvious that they're being viewbotted. Like, anybody could tell this. Best breakout streamer, like, best botted streamer. Like, you're obviously botting. So, yeah.
Now, Asmon Gold is looking at everybody, keep in mind. He's looking, and XQC did the same thing. So XQC, I would say it started between XQC and DDG. So XQC was like, yo, there's some big botters. And he was alluding to DDG. And then DDG would go on and say, why would I bot my stuff? That doesn't make me any money. Why would I spend money when I'm making money? I kind of see where what DDG was getting at, but botting does make you, to me, if you ask me, do I believe that DDG himself is knowingly botting his Twitch streams? I would be inclined to say I don't think so, no, because then why would he spend so much money on production for a show and not hit, like when he did that Are You My Ball show, that costed hundreds of thousands of dollars. Why would he spend that much money and not hit the viewership goals that he was aiming for? He was aiming for like 100K plus viewers concurrent when he was doing that, and I don't think he hit that. Maybe he almost hit that the first day, and he was disappointed by that. So if that was something that he could just bot, he would just bot that, and it would look good on him, and it would, throw him up in the rankings. So he didn't do that for that event. That leads me to believe that I don't think DDG is botting, at least intentionally. And by intentionally, I mean knowingly. So maybe someone is botting for him, but then it takes me to the argument, which is DDG, as far as I know, doesn't have like a team. He kind of runs everything himself. Like he probably has people helping, but like for example, a Neon, he's for sure botting. I believe that 100,000%. A Rakai, right? I believe people were juicing his numbers for him. I don't think that he's saying like, yo guys, turn it on. But regardless, this started this whole like money thing between XQC and DDG, because these two worlds are colliding that DDG knows less about that world than they know about DDG's world. So, you know, XQC big bosses him and he's like, nah, buddy, you're small fry. And then Asmon Gold keeps looking at people's botting metrics or people's viewership metrics. He called out Rakai as well, amongst other people. And then DDG responds to him in this clip I'm going to play you guys right now.
For a fact, I don't know about XQC and crypto and all this other shit, whatever the fuck, boom, 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 that's cool. Asmon Gold specifically is not with me financially. So I don't even want y'all to even have that in y'all brain, okay? He's not with me, period. At all, okay? Been did my research. That's not a that can go ban for me. That's not a that can call me broke. That's not a that can do none of that. So, Asmon, do your research on me, brother. I've been around for 10 plus years. I'm not new, none of that, okay? And if I was your age, how old is he? I guarantee you, if I started when y'all started, I'd be way past you, like, by light years. Light years, bro. This is my first year going crazy in this shit, streaming multiple times. You guys been doing this shit. Y'all been sitting in that stanky ass chair all goddamn for the past 5 years, bro.
So this all starts from just botting, and DDG, this is the one thing that I cannot let DDG get away with here when he's saying, I've only been doing this for a year, y'all been here for 10 years. Yeah, well, the difference is DDG's talking about, oh, I've been in this game for 10 years. So you've been in the content creation game for 10 years, and they've just been streaming for 10 years. So it's not like you're new to this. It's not like a Kai Cenat, for instance, right? Where you could say Kai Cenat's only been doing this quote unquote for 5 years. Like Kai Cenat's really only had motion for 5 years, or been profitable making money for 5 years, or an Aiden Ross for 5 years. You've been making money for 10 years, coming up on 10 years now. That's entirely different. And you can't say, oh no, I've only been streaming for a year, so if I've been doing this as long as you guys, you have been doing this as long as them. You've just done it in different ways. You were doing YouTube, and this is the thing. These guys were streaming when it wasn't as profitable as it is right now. So with DDG, he actually had the advantage because he did every single social media when it was the most profitable and juiced as much as he could from it, which is why we respect DDG. We're like, yo, this guy's smart. He milked YouTube when it was like the most poppin', when he was up there and there was less competition. Now, I'm not saying that DDG's not lit now. He is still lit, but you know, there were a lot less people creating that type of content back then. So he made a huge bag off of YouTube when there was a huge bag to be made. And he made a huge bag off of Snapchat, like he said, self-admittedly, and now he's making it off of streaming. But with an Asmon Gold, this guy's been doing it for 10 years. But the thing is, this guy's been sitting in that chair, in that crib, not spending money on anything but Whataburger, In-N-Out, and Dr. Pepper, and Taco Bell. So realistically, who's going to make more money? Meanwhile, DDG's been blowing bags, flying everywhere, has an entourage, taking care of his family, buying cars, whips, or cars and whips are the same thing. Cars, houses. He said he's got multiple houses. I think he's got 2 that I know of. But yeah, this is just like back and forth flex talk. And I thought it was kind of foul for Anthony Fantano to get at Asmon Gold in that way, because like, while I do think that they disagree, like to levy allegations like that on Asmon Gold of all people is wild, because he's one of the few people that actually supported like a lot of black streamers and defended them and gave them actual advice on how to deal with people from Asmon Gold's own community or former community. And I'm gonna play you guys an example clip of that right now when he's talking to the FaZe guys, in particular Silky, in regards to how they were treated at the Streamer Awards and by that side of streaming.
We're kind of having a problem like getting called homophobic and hating gay people all the time. I want to let you know that here's the truth, right? Is that the people that go around and say this shit about you, they don't like you. They would not be around you. If you didn't have a lot of viewers, they would be saying that you're a bad person. And as soon as you understand that as a content creator, you can understand how to have a healthy relationship with other people on a professional level without expecting them to act in good faith in your best interest. So that's the problem. Like, for example, Silky, if you had 100 viewers, Cutie would be calling you homophobic all the time. They'd be saying this about you all the time. They wouldn't interact with you. They wouldn't have anything to do with you. They don't like you. They like your position. These guys are young. They're probably not used to it, but that's the way it is. The reason why they say that about you is because they're trying to please their audiences of weirdos on Twitter that call you homophobic and complain about you all the time. They don't really care about you. They don't like your they probably don't even really like your content. Or maybe they pretend to not like it, but they actually do, but they're pretending on the internet for these other fans. The fact is that a lot of these people only interact with you. They only talk to you. They're only friends with you because you have a lot of clout and you have viewers, or you're friends with people that have clout and have viewers. The pursuit of a relationship or an interaction with you is purely to their benefit and to your detriment. To the extent that you interact with people that will subvert you, misrepresent you, joke about you in ways that are damaging or insulting, you make a fool of yourself, really. That's the truth. And I understand that you might not want to admit this right now. You might not want to come to this conclusion yet. But it's a matter of it's a matter of when and not if. You're going to realize that I'm right.
So what he's saying is, I don't know when it started, but this whole, these are not jokes. These accusations of like, yo, FaZe doesn't like 8 people and this and that. Meanwhile, they were kicking it with, I haven't seen them kick it with that guy in a long time. That dude Sketch. That Sketch is the first time I've ever heard somebody say, yo, my fault, y'all. I was on the drugs. So I had an OF and I was busting it open and I was getting cracked from the back. Drugs is doing that? Okay. I mean, they do. I think they were trying to say that like weed made you gay, but listen, man, that is wild. But they were messing with that guy and they were cool with him. But that notion just started to spread. I don't know why. They were just making regular jokes, and that started to stick. So that community of streamers, and not the gay community of streamers, but like Cutie Cinderella, that whole like quote unquote pogger side, which a lot of these people used to live in Austin, Texas, and Asmon Gold has collaborated a lot with these people in the past. Although, granted, he has always done his own thing. And culturally, he aligns with them more. Like, they come from a gaming background like he does. They come from the old Twitch like he does. But he likes these new guys. And he liked Aiden Ross. Like, for example, Aiden Ross was the first to go back and forth with these guys because they were talking about, they used to make fun of people like Aiden, which in turn led to people like FaZe, which is when they used to call them, oh, these guys, they don't even have emotes. They just spam W and L in the chat when Ludwig was hating on Aiden Ross. And Ludwig is a bona fide hater. Like, if he feels like somebody that he doesn't like or doesn't feel deserves the success that they have is getting it, he just seethes. Like, he was hating on Andrew Tate when he was blowing up, and it wasn't for a particular reason. He was just like, yeah, you know, like, this guy's saying this, and, you know, he's so popular, and so many people are listening to him. So you hear him being upset, but it's upset at the viewership as opposed to, I don't know, what the guy does or says. And the same thing with Aiden Ross, especially like Aiden Ross 2021. What was there to hate on? I mean, you could hate on him for being, you know, extra zesty, but they weren't even hating on him for that. So there's this whole reputation now that FaZe gets for, you know, not messing with the rainbow, when that's just simply not true. But the thing is, now they're trying to defend themselves from these allegations. It's not going to work out because once they've labeled you as that, that's it. That's also why Asmon Gold, when Anthony Fantano throws that label on him, he's like, yeah, that's exactly what I am. Because what are you gonna do? Are you gonna placate and be like, well, actually, no, needle drop, I've done this, and then you're just, all of that's going to get dismissed anyway. So once you get that label, you kind of just got to wear it or just ignore it. But why this is so gross from those people that are throwing it on FaZe is because FaZe is corporate as hell. Like, a billionaire bought half of FaZe and is throwing a bunch of money into it and wants to get it corporate sponsors. So if they're looking stuff up and they're seeing these accusations, that could really hurt their sponsorships. And FaZe is more of the, like, it's a diverse group. Like, you've got Your Rage, you've got Silky, which I say Your Rage is like half FaZe, even though he did the whole subathon thing. But for somebody like Asmon Gold, that's the last person that should be called like racist. It would make more sense to throw that on a Cutie Cinderella or to throw that on a Ludwig, right? Just from their behavior, from their friend groups, from who they've hated on. But the thing is, needle drop, Anthony Fantano is throwing that on Asmon Gold because he doesn't like the guy. And I think he doesn't like the guy because of their political opinions differing. And this is something that Anthony Fantano's done for white boys, even in music, going back 10 years. I remember he was one of the biggest haters of Post Malone. And I was just like, yo, why does this guy hate Post Malone so much? I mean, keep in mind, Post Malone, when he first got into the game, was dropping banger after banger after banger. It was unreal. Like, first White Iverson came out, and then you had, who was a person that didn't like Post Malone at the time? It was Earl. So Earl came in late, like maybe 6+ months later, and he didn't like Post Malone. And I understand why he didn't like it, but the thing is, the music was undeniable. And Anthony Fantano's supposed to be a music reviewer. So you had songs like White Iverson, you had Go Flex, you had Too Young, you had like just banger after banger. It was an unreal run. And then when he dropped the first project, I think it was a mixtape first, and he had one of those songs that was dedicated to Bankroll Fresh. And in the review of the mixtape, like, Anthony Fantano was trashing the guy and his music. I was like, listen, I can understand you not liking, the gold teeth, like everything that Post Malone was doing, which I do think he was just in love with that style for that period of time of his life. And then, things just changed for him. But the music was undeniable. But he hated on the music based on the way the guy looked and the way that Anthony Fantano felt like white boys should or should not behave. And that's been a consistent theme. So for him to kind of like throw it at Asmon Gold, it's unsurprising. Also, Anthony Fantano has been trying to distance himself for a long time from his more like edgy humor, I guess, where people would lump him in with people like an Asmon Gold. Like, for example, he was talking about, like, he used to hang out with Sam Hyde. Like, you look at Sam Hyde now and Anthony Fantano, you're like, yo, these guys are polar opposites. If you just look at their Twitter feed, or just look at Anthony Fantano's Twitter feed, I mean. But yeah, I think it's kind of dirty to throw that accusation on the dude, but hey, it is what it is. It's people that talk about politics, they're in a dirty game, and Fantano, at least on Twitter, is one of those people. But let me know what y'all think about this in the comments. Do you think it's fair that he throws down on Asmon Gold? Do you feel that about Asmon Gold, or do you think, like, he's kind of seems like a straight shooter? I think he's one of the least, I think he's more opinionated, but I would say he's one of like the least racist people that are like quote unquote white streamers. But let me know what y'all think in the comments. Like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell if you enjoyed, and I'm gonna see you on the next one.